Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again. You're watching some clips from my lower body day. Just saying lower body because this isn't necessarily power or hypertrophy. I just went in and did whatever I wanted to do, and part of that has been doing dynamic box jumps to begin. So this is part of my warm-up. I actually did 10 sets of 3 reps each, this using about a 36-inch tall box. Never had these at my other gym, so I've been starting to do these only because I really like them and getting back into jumping, again, being a former basketball player. So after I did those 10 sets, I jumped into my squat workout. You didn't see my first warm-up set on squats, which was 135, just did 10 reps. Here I'm starting with 225, and my goal on this is just to progress up about 50 to 40 pounds. In some cases, it's 20 pounds each actual working set, just getting to kind of near failure. So for this first one, you're looking at 225, just really working on form and making sure that I do everything right. You'll notice on most of these reps, I'm either at parallel, a little bit above, or even a little bit below in some cases. So on average, it works out. You'll notice I don't have a significant butt wink here. As I pointed out last video, I have been working on this, and I'll show you guys how I've been working on that. But also because I'm not trying to force myself lower than I should be going, meaning beyond my real range of motion where I start getting more of that butt wink in. And again, going forward, this is something I'm going to really work on so that I can get even lower while avoiding that butt wink, but that's another video. So the next set here I used 275, again, just 5 reps. So here you go for 315, getting under the bar. Now a lot of people noticed in my bench video I did the other day that I kind of swing myself under and get set, and a lot of people ask why I did this. I think I'm going to do a video on that as far as the squat goes too. You'll notice I swing myself under, I get firm, I get planted, talking about setting up correctly and kind of really establishing a routine. I kind of look at it very similar to how most people, when they shoot free throws, for example, in basketball, have their own routine they go through each time, kind of like certain steps to make sure that everything goes in line. And that's really important with lifting, because if you just go in there and kind of half-ass it or not really pay attention to setting up, it can really impact some of the numbers that you're going to be able to lift. So I think that would make an interesting video going forward. As you see my next set here with 335. Now speaking of getting a good motion, look at this next set here where I try to start with the foot I'm not used to. I kind of have to take a step back and redo it, only because again, I've trained myself to do it a certain way, and if I don't do it exactly right, I feel like I'm a little bit off in my squatting. So with this set here, you're looking at 355, again, just 5 reps. So this set here with 375, you can see I have a 25 and a 5. And normally I would have jumped to also 35s here, but you'll know my gym doesn't have 35s, and a lot of people said, well, why does this matter? Well, as you start to get towards more weight on the bar, and especially if you're using like bumper plates and we're talking about deadlifts, there starts to quickly run out of room. So just adding a 25 and a 10 could potentially take up a ton of real estate, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted a 35 instead. Now this next set coming up is kind of funny. You guys know I train fasted early in the morning, and I took a pre-workout today, and that kind of plays with my stomach. So I'm sitting here and I'm literally farting, almost shitting myself, only because I wanted to do that before I got into the bar and accidentally pushed something out that I wasn't supposed to. So while in theory that sounds like a great idea, it was not, because that thing was a stinker. And now I'm sitting here working with, I believe, 385, maybe 395. I want to say 385. Regardless, I'm sitting there and I'm having to sit in my own smell, and it was not pleasant. Luckily, I was the only person in the gym, and I was still able to get my 5 reps. Now coming up, you'll see my deadlifts, and I wanted to start by just dropping the weight on the floor, just because it makes me feel better after getting yelled at in my previous gym. It's really nice about having these rubber bouncer plates and bumper plates. Alright, so let's start some of these working sets, and I did something very similar as I did with squats, just working on sets of 5 here. In this case, I'm working for speed. I'm also doing a conventional stance. You notice a lot of times that I do sumo style, which has brought a lot of questions. Hey, what sumo? What are you doing? And I've seen a lot of people recently making videos on sumo squats and the difference, so I will definitely do that at some point. I just feel right now like the market is a little bit oversaturated with this, but I just felt like doing conventional, and again, personal preference really dictates what I do a lot of times. So moving on here to another set, this looks like about 285 or so. Those look like 25s and 5s, although they could be 10s and 5s or 25s and 10s. I don't really know. I don't really care. Again, just working on pulling, resetting the bar enough so I'm not using that momentum completely, usually getting good pulls in this case. Jumping to 315 here, again, you can see that these bumper plates, typically I'll alternate between a bumper plate and then a normal plate and then a bumper plate, but since I was all alone today, I figured I might as well use these. But again, you'll notice it's starting to get really close towards the end of that bar, and just working on sets of 5, just pulling. Nothing fancy. Continuing on here, I believe this is 335. I want to say there's 10s on there if you can see them. You'll also notice I'm not using any kind of straps in this case either. I am using a little bit of chalk, but just enough to hold my grip. This isn't really a heavy enough workload that is really ever going to tax my grip. This is the only real pulling movement I did, so my grip strength is fine in this case. Which moves on to my last set, and I want to say this is like 375, it might be 385, I don't really know. I don't really care. Again, just working on pulling, making sure I get nice, good pulls, controlled movements, and really just working what I'm supposed to be working. And that's all I really did today, besides the box jumps, the squats, and the deadlifts. It's kind of simple, but very effective, and it felt great. Appreciate you guys watching, and as always, stay big.